you're alienating a large customer base, right? One of the things I've noticed about Chinese branding abroad, and we're going to use Tanzania as an example. Well, last winter holiday, I went back home and I noticed that there's an influx, a growing population of Chinese businesses in the country that are run and owned by Chinese nationals instead of just like, let's say, a partnership between a local and then they import stuff from China. But what I also found interesting is that in the branding, they will put the Chinese characters, even though majority of the people in that area do not speak Chinese. Chinese, which is supposed to be like a sort of melting pot of different cultures, because Tanzania and especially Dar es Salaam is a very multicultural city. But to start your business there with some of the buying power not being able to understand the characters is interesting. And sometimes it's the characters and the English translation, so I guess they're just trying to push on the authenticity, like the whole made in China, and I get that. And sometimes it's a complete absence of the Chinese character, the English translation. And I'm just like, how are you planning to integrate your brand within the locals? You're alienating a large customer base, right? And even though I was trying to understand that maybe if they're trying to target Chinese people that are already in the city, that's a very small portion in comparison to everyone else who doesn't speak the language. When I think of brand localization, I think of things like KFC or Maidang, you know, how like McDonald's. These are brands that are internationally known and they're American brands, but whenever they go and open franchises in different countries, they localize in order to not alienate the customers. So we have KFC and then we have Kondeji and their menu is localized. We have McDonald's and their menu gets localized and the name also becomes Maidang, so it's easier to pronounce for the Chinese locals. One thing I'd like to recommend is that even though you're proud of your national heritage, when opening in a foreign country, it is customary to, well, do what the Romans are doing. So instead of just alienating the customers with Chinese language, or let's say Chinese language without subtitles, it would be better to also incorporate the language that the people are majority speaking so that they don't feel intimidated by the brand. And unless it's for a cuisine, right, understand you're trying to make this as an authentic Chinese cuisine, something like, let's say, an iPhone store does not need you to have the Chinese name. Thank you for listening and goodbye.